We smashed chairs against the doors, threw heavy vases at the windows, but nothing broke. We were trapped inside, and the walls were literally bleeding dark red liquid all around us. To escape, we had to give the house what it wanted, a sacrifice. One of us had to die, so the rest could leave. This is exactly what happened to us. On a weekend that was supposed to be full of laughter and fun, it started like any normal trip, but ended in horror we can never forget. It was meant to be nothing more than a quiet, joyful escape. A long weekend away from our busy lives, a chance to reconnect like we used to years ago. Life had pulled us all in different directions. Different cities, different jobs, different worries. And we missed being together. There were 5 of us in total. Maya and Liam, the couple who first planned the trip. Chloe, always observant and a little too sensitive to things she couldn't explain. Ben, the strong, practical one who never believed in anything he couldn't touch. And Jesse, the group's joker, the one who turned every scary situation into a laugh. Or at least, he tried to. We found the place listed online. Blackwood Estate. A huge, old Victorian manor standing alone deep inside the pine forests, miles away from the nearest village. The photos looked stunning. Tall windows, polished wood, grand rooms, and the price was surprisingly low. We thought it was just off-season rates. We didn't ask why it was so cheap. We should have. From the moment we stepped out of our cars, the air felt heavy, still, like the whole forest was holding its breath. The house was beautiful, yes, but it had a weight to it. The walls were lined with dozens of oil paintings. People from a century ago, dressed in fine clothes, their faces serious, their eyes dark and piercing. As we carried our bags inside, I noticed something strange. No matter where I walked, those painted eyes seemed to turn, following my every movement. Perfect setting for a horror movie, don't you think? Jesse laughed, tossing his bag onto the sofa. But his laugh died instantly. His voice had bounced off the high ceilings and came back to us. Distorted, hollow, too loud. As if the house itself had repeated his words back to him. Twisted and wrong. That first evening, while exploring the study, Chloe found it. Tucked behind a row of dusty books on the highest shelf. A heavy leather-bound diary. Its cover cracked, pages yellowed and stiff, written in ink that had faded to brown. The handwriting was frantic, messy, as if the writer's hand had been shaking the entire time. We sat together under the warm lamplight and read. It told the story of the family who built this house, the Holloway family. They lived here in isolation, happy at first, until things began to change. Strange sounds in the walls, shadows that moved on their own, voices calling names in the dark. And then, they vanished, every single one of them. No bodies, no footprints, no goodbye. Just gone. The very last entry made my skin prickle all over. The walls are not solid. They breathe, they listen, and they are hungry for anyone who steps inside. We closed the book, laughed nervously, and told ourselves it was just old fiction. Just a story to scare people. But by the next morning, the house stopped pretending. Chloe woke up looking pale, exhausted, terrified. She said she hadn't slept a second. All night she heard voices whispering right next to her pillow, soft, breathless voices, repeating her name over and over again, mixed with words she couldn't understand. Just the wind in the trees, Ben said confidently. Old house noises. You're imagining things. We all tried to believe him. We really did. That evening we sat in the main lounge playing board games, trying to act normal, trying to pretend we were just friends on vacation. But my eyes kept drifting toward the large, tall mirror hanging above the fireplace. It was an antique, framed in dark, carved wood, reflecting all of us sitting there, the fire glowing behind us. At first, I thought it was just a shadow, a trick of the firelight. Then I saw it clearly. Behind us, in the glass, stood a sixth shape, tall, thin, featureless, standing perfectly still between our reflections, watching us. "Did anyone else see that?" I whispered. My voice shook so hard I could barely get the words out. Before anyone could reply, crack! Shatter! The mirror exploded from the center outward. Thousands of sharp shards flew across the room, glinting like knives, cutting through the air. We all ducked, covering our heads, hearts hammering in our chests. When we looked back up, the frame was empty, and the whispering, suddenly, got much louder. As night fell completely, Blackwood Estate dropped its mask. Ben woke us all screaming at 3 a.m. He was sitting up in bed, clutching his leg. Long, deep, bloody scratches ran from his knee all the way to his hip. Ragged marks, as if something with claws had dragged them down him while he slept. His door had been locked from the inside. Chloe's phone, the only device that managed to catch a faint signal out here, started playing audio files on its own. Distorted, wet, gurgling voices coming from the speaker. "You belong here? Stay with us. Forever." Liam, always the calm one, the skeptic, tried to keep us grounded. "It's just old wiring. Drafts. Our minds playing tricks because we're tired. We pack up and leave first thing at sunrise. Okay? Just hold on." But sunrise never felt like it was coming. Later that night, while searching for a water tap in the basement, I found something new. A section of the stone wall looked different, rougher, newer. When I ran my hand over it, a hidden latch clicked. A door swung open inward, revealing a narrow stone staircase spiraling down deep into the earth. Cold, damp air rushed out, smelling of wet soil and something older. Something rotten. I don't know why I went down. Curiosity? Stupidity? A pull I couldn't resist? I grabbed my flashlight and stepped into the dark. Step by step, the voices grew louder. Not just whispers now. Murmurs, cries, faint sobbing echoing up from below. At the very bottom, I found a small square chamber. And every single wall, every inch, was covered in mirrors. Floor to ceiling, hundreds of them. I was surrounded by endless copies of myself, stretching forever. I froze, heart pounding against my ribs. Then I looked at the largest mirror directly in front of me. My reflection smiled. But it wasn't my smile. It was too wide, too stretched, too many teeth. And when I stepped back, it stepped forward. I turned and ran, scrambling up the stairs, screaming until my throat was raw. Upstairs, everything had fallen apart. Exactly like I told you at the start. Jesse was smashing a heavy chair against the front door. Again and again. But the wood wouldn't splinter. Chloe threw a heavy vase at the living room window, and the glass didn't even crack. We were trapped. Every door, every window sealed tight as stone. And the house. It was feeding on our fear. Old arguments we thought we'd buried years ago came rushing back like poison. Liam accused Chloe of bringing this upon us. Ben shouted at Jesse for making jokes that woke it up. We were turning on each other, exactly like they wanted. Then I remembered the diary. I ran back to the study, flipping through the pages with shaking hands. Near the very end, written in handwriting that looked desperate, terrified. Instructions. A ritual. To close the house's hunger, you must give what it craves most. A soul. A willing offering. One remains, so the others may walk free. "This is insane," Ben yelled. "We are not doing this. It's just writing." But then the walls began to change. Dark, thick liquid seeped through the wallpaper, running down like blood. Shadows detached from the corners, crawling across the floor toward us, long and thin and hungry. The voices roared now. "Give us one." Liam stepped forward, his face pale, eyes hard with guilt. "I chose this place. I insisted we come. I thought it would be fun. I didn't know. I didn't understand. This is my fault. I'll fix it. We tried to stop him. We begged him not to. But we all knew. It was the only way. We stood in a circle, hands clasped, reading the strange words written in the diary. The air turned freezing cold. The floor shook violently beneath our feet. When we spoke the final syllable, Liam was pulled down, straight through the floorboards, as if they were water. His scream cut off instantly, swallowed by the house. Silence. Complete, heavy, terrifying silence. The next morning, the front door swung open on its own. The four of us walked out. We didn't speak, we didn't look back. We got in the car and drove fast until the pine trees were miles behind us, until we had cell signal again, until we saw other people, other houses, light and noise and normal life. We thought it was over. We thought we had escaped. We never spoke about Blackwood Estate again. We drifted apart even faster after that. Too much pain, too much fear, too much guilt hanging between us. 3 weeks ago, a package arrived at my doorstep. No return address. Inside, wrapped in old brown paper, was a single piece of mirror glass. I lifted it up and looked. My reflection smiled. Wide, sharp, too many teeth, and whispered, "You forgot one rule. No one ever truly leaves Blackwood."